Russia's mysterious Patomsky Crater and why this anomalous crater was not studied during the Soviet era. Now, according to Wikipedia, this is called the Patomsky Crater, or the Fire Eagle Nest. It's a very strange, peculiar rock formation in the Bodaibo district of Irkutsk of southeast Siberia. So this is in Siberia. And it's a large mound made of shattered limestone rocks on the slopes of Patom highlands. And the cone's crown is ring-shaped, as we can see. And in its center, there's a smaller mound with a height of about 39 feet, 12 meters. The volume of the crater is estimated to be about 230,000 cubic meters, with a weight of about 1 million tons. And the crater was discovered recently in 1949 by Russian geologist Vadim Kolpakov. The origins have been subject of intense scientific interest, hypotheses including a meteor strike, volcanic gaseous origin, but to date no definite proof has been given. It's estimated to be only 300 to 350 years old. The nearby trees seem to have experienced rapid growth that has been theorized to be caused by radiation. The theories of the origins: some scientists believe the crater presents a large footprint of ultra-dense meteorite, which sunk underground upon impact. Another hypothesis was that it was a fragment of the Tunguska meteorite. Others believe that the crater is a result of a breakthrough of a deep pocket of natural gas. Several scientific expeditions have been sent to the crater, but the nature of its origin remains still a mystery. Kindly support my Patreon account, since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Astronomers and geophysicists from the Irkutsk State Technical University, geochemists from the Institute of Geosphere Dynamics of Moscow still believe that the crater may have a meteoric origin. And now I went to the Russian site, and I'll leave a link below for you. What I just read was from Wikipedia. But I like to go to some origins. And this is what these, a new team that went, as we said, it was discovered back in 1947. Soviet science had much greater potential than Russia science. Could it be possible to create a permanent scientific base near this nest of the fiery eagle, near the Patomsky Crater? They should, of course. He said, the writer here says, I tried to organize an expedition to study the crater, and former employees of the Irkutsk Geology Department and now Moscow pensioner Vadim Kolpakov, he says, I threw letters to various departments, but to no avail. This is the guy who discovered it in 1947. The Soviet geology was solving 2 large-scale problems: the search for uranium and the compilation of detailed geological map of the country, because they were looking to search for oil and gas. And the study of the Patomsky Crater did not promise any benefits. He says, my superiors strongly advised not to publish material about the crater in the press. Now, this is Vadim Kolpakov is mistaken. Recently, the editors received documents about one semi-legal trip of scientists to the Patomsky Crater in 1963, and the results of the expedition were quite amazing. The discovery of the Patomsky Crater by Kolpakov was sure until the early 2000s. Scientists had never been there. Recently, however, interesting documents have come to the editorial office. Turns out, 1963, the semi-legal expedition visited the crater, and its participant Lev Oshepkov, now the chief mechanic of Tomsk University Control Systems and Radioelectronics, says, back in 1959, an informal community was created by specialists from several Siberian scientific centers the integral amateur expedition. I also became one of the members of the group. Our goal was to study the Tunguska phenomenon and some other interesting regions of Siberia. In our free time and at our own expense, we went on expeditions. Basically, of course, people spent their holidays on it. In 1963, we first intended to check rumors about a certain monster allegedly living in the Yatuk Lake, but in May, on the sidelines of one of the CSE conferences, there was a rumor about the incomprehensible Patomsky Crater. Hollow balls, drops of electric welding. Okay, hollow balls and drops of electric welding. The expedition members had to check the version of the Patomsky Crater, how it was formed from the fall of a meteorite. Several methods were used to see if it was formed by a meteor impact. Metallurgical survey of the area with the taking of soil samples for the study and search for anomalous particles, washing the rock to detect small meteorite particles, search for relatively large fragments of a meteorite in the vicinity of the crater which could have fallen out during its alleged explosion. The first mystery, metallometry and analysis of rocks taken from the different depths and at different points in the vicinity of the crater gave an increased content of magnesium, in some samples 5 times higher than the background content. Nobody undertook to explain this anomaly, but the main thing is that it was not possible to prove the presence of meteorite matter on the crater in this case. The second point of research yielded more interesting results. A camping laboratory was deployed in the camp in which scientists washed 800 whole kilograms of soil samples. That's almost a ton. 101 balls were extracted from magnetized iron ore magnetite. Their sizes range from 0.5 microns to 11 millimeters. Starting from the concentration, some curved, irregularly shaped plates with a silvery sheen appearance, very reminiscent of artificial formations such as steel shavings, microscopic debris from a shovel or pick, etc., and these debris are highly magnetic. Sample number 48 contained 5 metal balls with a diameter of 60 to 80 microns. The spheroid cone-type body was encountered, similar to those found in the area of the fall of the Sikhot Alin meteorite in the Far East. The cone is transparent yellow. In sample 37, a hollow ball with a size of 0.11 millimeters was found. All finds can be classified into 3 groups. Perfectly regular spheres of hollow balls with a smooth, shiny surface. Some easily collapse or shrink into cakes when pressed. Others do not. Hemispheres with smooth bluish or black surface. Drops spatter from electric welding type things. And from the expedition report, we also dragged a military mine detector into the Taiga called Lev Oshepkov in case there are large fragments of a meteorite in the vicinity of the crater. Alas, nothing could be found on the surface and at the depth of up to 3 meters. But the report indicates that a lot of large trees with mechanical damage were found in the area, perhaps from falling stones. Stripped woods, stones stuck in tree trunks, trees broken or piled on by debris. It's interesting that such searches were carried out by members of our expedition in 2005-2006, but we didn't manage to find stones stuck in trees. All the magnetized finds were distributed by the expedition members for research at several institutes. The conclusion in 1963. Unfortunately, the data collected was not enough to give preference to the meteorite or volcanic hypothesis of the origin of the I forgot the name of it already. My goodness, Patomsky Crater. So let's remember, this team went on their vacation under their own expense to figure out what this thing was all about. Riddle number 1, radiation. The helicopter pilots dropped us off about 1 kilometer from the crater, and the first thing the scientists did was to uncover the radiometer. The background radiation at the site of our camp turned out to be 11 microergens. It's absolutely safe for a person, even then less than the many Russian cities. For example, in the city of Bodaibo, closest to the crater, the average radiation background is 18. In Moscow, it's 15. So this here was 11. The next morning, when we went to the crater, experts took measurements every 100 meters. Surprisingly, the closer we got to the nest of the fire eagle, the lower the background radiation became. And on the crater itself, it was already only 5 microergens. Scientists did not yet know how to explain this fact, but it has recently become clear. If the Patomsky Crater is a bad place, then the reason here is not at all about radiation. Riddle number 2, a living anomaly. A scientific expedition organized by Komsomolskaya Pravda with the participation of Channel 1 and the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences set out for this part of the eastern Siberia to study the mysterious Patomsky Crater, which the Yakuts call the nest of the fiery eagle, and consider it an unkind place where animals try not to wander. Scientists have suggested that the cause is the high level of radiation in the crater. Well, obviously it's a lot lower as you go towards the crater. But the very first experiments in the area of the anomaly revealed a strange thing. In the crater itself, the radiation background is 2 times lower than in the vicinity. It's strange, but it is already clear that we are not talking about uranium ores or a nuclear explosion. And when it became clear that this was possible to live and work in the crater, a new mystery immediately arose. Last year, due to the death of a leader of the expedition, scientists were unable to make detailed measurements of the crater. Now it seems to us that outwardly the nest of the eagle has slightly changed. On one side of the crater walls have become slightly higher, on the other it's lower. It turns out that the anomaly is still alive. I mean, they're saying that the crater is changing. Its levels are changing. The rocks bulging out of the ground continue to settle and move. This means that the crater was formed recently, no later than several hundred years ago. We decided to talk about this topic. Were there any noticeable changes in the shape of the crater with members of the Maximov Yakut family, whose family has lived about 10 kilometers from the crater for more than 80 years? We met them, and the head of family said that they have they had a boat on which they are selected to be there 4 times a year. Diamonds, countless diamonds. In informal conversations, experts suggest another version. True, no one wanted to publicly declare it because it looks much more fantastic than the assumptions about a super dense meteorite. The Patomsky Crater may be a young Kimberlite pipe. Okay, remember Kimberlites? What are Kimberlites? And we have Kimberlites in northern Canada. We have Kimberlites around the area of northern Newfoundland and towards Greenland. And we have Kimberlite volcanoes in Kansas. Okay, Kimberlite are volcanic explosive volcanoes that spit out diamonds. Okay, diamonds. Yes. So Kansas has a lot of diamonds, and they're explosive. These are the gases have to come out. That's why a lot of you who live in Kansas and around the state of Kansas, when you hear rumbling under your house or something like an explosion, you don't know where it's coming from, it's probably underneath, because you've got at least 15 volcanoes in Kansas. But, you know, many people think, oh, we don't have volcanoes, but you do. They're under you. And I've, a long time ago, I made videos on sounds, strange sounds, and lights in Kansas and the Kimberlite volcanoes. So they say here the Patomsky Crater may be a young Kimberlite pipe that has emerged to the surface, a special geological body formed when gases break through the Earth's crust. Only such pipes can contain diamond deposits. It's believed that we know that Russia is the world's largest diamond producer. Yes, it's Russia. Okay? Now, it's believed that all Kimberlite pipes on our planet appeared billions of years ago. If we assume that such processes are still going on in the bowels of the Earth, then we'll have to change the entire theory of the formation of our planet. Meteorite, but a stranger. If we assume that the nest really was formed from the fall of a meteorite, then this pebble came from another star system. And according to the theory, our planetary system was formed from a flat cloud of gas and dust. Therefore, all bodies native to the solar system, planets, asteroids, etc., move in the same plane. In the case of the Patomsky Crater, we can only roughly indicate the trajectory of the meteorite's flight, since it's not known at what time of the year the collision occurred. But if we combine the angle of the entry of the meteorite in the atmosphere and the place of its fall, it turns out that it flew at an angle of 50 to 70 degrees to our plane. That big piece of iron could have such a trajectory if we were native. No encounters with planets Jupiter, Saturn could distort this trajectory so much. Conclusion: the meteorite is alien for our system. True, I'm not sure that under the crater you'll find the entire meteorite. After such an impact, everything should have melted and mixed into one mass. I'm just going through this long article, but it has nothing to do with, but it's still a typical underground explosion. I agree with the calculations, especially if it happened in the depth of 100 to 150 meters. This is not friction. The version of the Patomsky Crater is a trail of a super dense meteorite, for example, a piece of a neutron star we discussed at the Institute at a seminar. Despite the seeming fantasy, it's quite real. Now astrophysicists suggest that over time, a body of neutron matter becomes covered with a crust of ordinary matter, like rust on metal. And if a superdense piece collided with our planet, then a shell of ordinary matter exploded, forming a pseudo-meteorite crater. And the superdense filling either punctured the planet through, or if we're talking about slightly less dense matter, then a fragment of a neutron star slowly down into the depths of our planet. Lightning extraordinary? I would seriously suggest considering the option with lightning. Even in school textbooks on nature studies, it's written that a strong electrical discharge hitting a mountain can easily knock out a small cave in it. In my opinion, the version is much more real than some super dense substance that no one has ever held in their hands. Alien guest? I saw them myself. He's talking about extraterrestrial type of an influence here. The fact that a meteorite did not explode on the surface but went deep into the ground can be associated with three circumstances. Almost right angle of its incident in relation to the surface, like a bullet plunging into a host rock and not rejected. As far as I can judge from the photo, this assumption is consistent with the crater morphology. About some super dense meteorite, I doubt it. Rather, it's a pebble with a high content of iron-nickel alloys. Physics and mechanical properties of the host rock themselves, which contribute to such penetration of the meteorite, if these rocks turned out to be more hard and durable, the meteorite could simply explode. Another member of the expedition, Dmitry Semenov, says that we suspect there is water inside the cone. The lakes that were in this massif froze over year after year. Under pressure, the water expanded, shattering limestones, and a powerful water hammer occurred. Why would it only take place in this one specific place at the Patomsky Crater? That to me doesn't make any sense. There would be craters like this all over the place then. Anyway, he says, here's a more illustrative example. If we take a bottle of sparkling water, cool it down to 1 or 2 degrees, and then if you open it a little slightly, you'll see how fast it'll fly out. It turns out that cosmic analogies of the Patomsky Crater should be sought not on the Moon and Mercury, but on Jupiter's moon Io, where such cryovolcanoes are quite a common natural phenomenon. But if in general terms the mechanism of the appearance of this formation is quite understandable, then the location of the cryovolcano on the slope remains a mystery to the day. Now, according to geologists, all these events took place when there was a decrease in average monthly temperatures throughout the planet, that is, during the so-called Little Ice Age, and since the peak of the last of them was just 500 years ago. This is very well superimposed on the age of the Patomsky Crater, which was determined using radioisotope analysis. At the same time, scientists are convinced that the study of the Patomsky Crater should be continued to confirm the hypothesis of cryogenic origin, hydrological, cryological studies, measurements of the radon content in rocks are needed. All this scientists intend to accomplish next year. They hope that government agencies will provide them with financial and other material assistance. And for this to happen, the institutes of the Kursk Scientific Center sent an application to the State Duma, the parliament, for the creation of a specially protected area near the Patomsky Crater. In the future, the Patomsky Crater is planned to be included in the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So, what do you think this is? Is it a meteorite impact? Is it a diamond volcano, Kimberlite volcano pipe? I don't know. But it certainly looks strange, especially with the fact that the radiation decreases as you go towards the crater. Very strange. I've translated this from a Russian article using Google Translate because, of course, I'm not Russian. But please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Tell me what you think this is.